What's going on, guys? Wilco here from Florence Ceiling. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're going back into the film room for a breakdown on Spain and Real Madrid wing Hugo González. I actually feel as though Hugo will become one of the more polarizing prospects as we inch closer to the draft. ESPN usually has him at the lottery or thereabouts. I'm not really quite as high on him. I think that right now, he's probably right at the end of my first round, still holding up due to that athletic intrigue, the pedigree, of course, the high ranking earlier, which I do think should be factored in for prospects. But this season, he's barely played with Real Madrid. Whenever he does step onto the court, I feel as though the same issues that I had with Hugo earlier in his career, in terms of his discipline, his control, and really just how sped up he plays, I think that all of that can still stand to get much better. But without further ado, let's get into some of the tape here. This was from the last FIBA break against Latvia, against Belgium, so the competition level isn't too high, but the fact that Hugo got plenty of minutes is worth breaking down. So let's just get right into it then. And we'll start right here. So Hugo is number 7 for Spain, right? So we see him here in transition, Latvia bringing the ball up. And here, this is some of the good stuff that he can do, like getting up there for that block, athletic, quick first step, quick first jump. Continuing here on D right now, we have Hugo on the ball. And now gets the deflection with his length, activity, but kind of what I touched on earlier here as well, right? With comes up, gets the deflection, but then he just kind of sped up, just tosses it off his teammate. Spain gets a little lucky to get the ball back, but still. Hugo then started with the ball, now about to get it back. Gets it back, swings it, flies in for the rebound and finishes mid-air. So I think that's some of the, functional athleticism that makes Hugo intriguing, as well as the motor, just this ability to kind of come in, crash from the perimeter. And even while he's in the air, it's not like he dunks it or anything, but it's still a pretty athletic play. Baseline out of bounds situation here. Here's the inbounder. Hugo right here, kind of at this left elbow, and clearly this is a set play. He's going to come off the screen here, but again, what we saw here, Hugo comes from the left elbow. Now he's the one using the screen from this set play, gets it, finishes through contact. So again, that athleticism, the strength, the pop, you could say as well. And now here we have González bringing the ball up. Let me just go back real quick for the full play. But bringing the ball up here, left side of the floor, and draws the foul. So, Spain is down 20 points here. This doesn't really count for much, but I do appreciate kind of the process and really just the engagement to still kind of, grift out this foul, even though the game is gone at this point. Similar idea here. Again, a 20-plus point game. We have Hugo right here with the number 7, so keep an eye on him. And yeah, pretty much, just the physicality again, the athleticism. He's looking to cut off the ball. The defender can't really contain him, so he fouls him. And Hugo gets back to the free throw line. Now, switching gears a little bit, and we'll go back to the Latvia game here and there, but Spain's second FIBA game of the international break was against Belgium, who honestly I consider worse competition than Latvia. So this was again, another pretty decent test for Hugo against low competition, which I think can be valuable for a context like him, given that, his day-to-day is with Real Madrid, where he doesn't play much. But if he goes to Spain and plays more, then obviously that is useful. Here, attacks off the catch and gets fouled. So once again, we're kind of going back to this ability to, get to the free throw line using how he gets downhill. Deflection there, turning defense into offense. So let's just go back real quick. And we're about to see it right here. Yeah, just kind of uses his length and, you know, his explosion to get into the lane, breaks up the pass, and then pushes in transition and finishes, which I do think is something that we'll see more often from Hugo going forward, or it's something that we should see more of at least. Anyways, back to the defensive end here. Hugo now can kind of, you know, see him as the low man here, if you will. Pick and roll ensuing on the left side of the floor. He's on the right side, you know, low on the right side. Tags here, and now it's all about whether he can make this long closeout, which is going to be important in the NBA. You know, obviously the court is bigger, you know, the three-point threat from attackers is much bigger as well. So when Hugo tags in the paint, or just in general, when he helps or whatever the case may be, he's gonna need to come back out quickly and recover using that powerful first step and his length and jump. Kind of gets a little lucky here. I don't really love the gamble right here, although I do think that the closeout isn't bad, but a lot of the time that will just be called for the foul instead of getting the steal. So, you know, not a massive fan of that. About to have Hugo flying off the screen here, so let's just take a look and see what happens. And I think that's nice. That's good process, even though the finish isn't good, but comes up right using the screen. Now he'll receive a ball screen pretty quick, you know, just slips it, but enough for him to get downhill going right. And again, he gets fouled here. I don't really love the finish just because I kind of think that it's out of control, but he does do a good job at, once again, getting to the charity stripe. Similar situation now playing out. Hugo starting on that left corner. We have Ethan Almanza here, who I think has kind of, you know, taken himself out of NBA draft conversations, or at most he's a second rounder right now. But Hugo, you know, comes off what Ethan sets. Again, looks to get right, and this time finishes much more smoothly and still gets to and one. Open court situation now with Hugo, who is right here, and he's about to get it right now. Attack off the catch and get fouled again. So really, I think that what we're kind of seeing is that you're looking at, you know, Hugo to attack tilted defenses, be that out of closeouts or in transition, but he's much better getting to the rim when the defense is not completely set. Ball at the top of the key now, right here for Hugo, and he'll take his time. So these are the types of possessions actually that kind of intrigue me even more, because I do think that González can kind of be a, you know, one speed, full speed kind of prospect. So if he can play with more patience, that's always good to see. Right here, I like the process, right? So let's take a look here, just kind of go slowly. Rejects the screen to go left, and then it's that rangy, long float over to get into the paint, which is really nice. But the takeoff from right here, almost the free throw line, for my liking, is kind of distant. And then, you know, that soft kind of scoop really is easy for the big to just kind of get there and swat it out of bounds. Again, Hugo about to get out in transition here. Aggressive, making his move. But again, you know, the process is good. And then once he gets to the rim in a little bit of traffic, but not even that much, he just kind of rushes and misses what should really be a very makeable shot for him. And, you know, it will get tougher in the NBA. Back to Hugo here against Latvia, gets the ball, and now he'll attack right. And again, you know, it's these decisions and the, you know, the velocity that he plays with actually once he gets into the paint, usually it's very improvable and it goes back to just operating way more under control. So here, let's take a look at what happens. Hugo gets the ball, and so far, so good. I think we've seen him receive that ball, on the left side of the floor out of handoffs or coming out of the screen before. So for now, process is decent, it's normal. But now, as he looks to attack right here, he gets met, with a wall of defenders. And rather than just, kind of slowing down or kicking it back out or whatever the case may be, I think that he really tries to force this drop off, even though it's not there, and it gets picked off. And as we'll see, these these jump passes and these turnovers and these decisions as a passer are something that Hugo really needs to work hard on and keep improving, because at this point in time, it's not NBA level and it's not, up to the standard that Real Madrid requires from their players either. So right here we had Hugo handling the ball. Now he's about to get it back. Right here, gets the screen from number 14. Toys around with the idea a little bit. Eventually gets into his drive left. But once again, those jump passes can easily go awry. And when Hugo leaves his feet, it ends up in a turnover for Spain. Pretty similar circumstances here. Gets the defensive rebound, brings the ball up into the paint, but once again, when he's met with traffic and once he's met with bodies, it kind of gets messy right here. I think that the pass out should be pretty, straightforward. It's true that the spacing with these two guys isn't ideal, but even then, I think that this is a very avoidable turnover. Hugo gets the screen again to go left, leaves his feet. And even though that one isn't a turnover, this one actually, if you notice here, first quarter, it's I think the first kind of risky pass of the game for González, but kind of sets the tone for the rest of the night for him in what would be a pretty out of control performance actually as a passer. Right here, it's not a turnover, but still you can tell how this right here could easily have gotten intercepted. Now another, baseline out of bounds situation here. And for the rest of this video, I'm just gonna kind of break down the rest of what Hugo did for this international break. Kind of just fill in the gaps because not everything kind of fits into one neat category, but it is just worth commenting on his overall prospects. Here, kind of a grenade situation, but what I'm looking at is the setup, I'm looking at the setup here, and also what I'm looking at is how high the arc on this shot is. I mean, just look at it here, right? Like, it's gonna leave Hugo's hands, go up, and I mean, it leaves the screen, and it takes a minute for it to come back down. It's a miss. Don't really care about that, but I do think that it's a little bit strenuous, the jump shot, I should say. Back against Latvia, we have Hugo right now here. He's baseline, but he's about to come up and lift. Gets it, ball screen, attacks, gets blocked. So again, even though I do think that he actually kind of tries to slow down here, it's more so that his intentions are pretty easy to read, and the speed that he plays at and just his process a lot of the time is relatively easy to telegraph, which is an issue for somebody who a lot of people, I think, have still projected as a first rounder right around that top 20 range. Whereas for me right now, I'm really looking at Hugo González much more in my late first round, or even falling out of that completely. So here we're gonna have another finish, which isn't great. Ball screen, this time goes right. Bumps to kind of float over middle, and then goes up soft with that scoop, which earlier we actually saw get rejected against Belgium. Doesn't get rejected here, but it's a miss, and then gets fouled, crashing the offensive glass on his own miss here, which is good, but I mean, I would rather just see the initial take go in. The process again here is nice, and I think that this is something which Hugo will probably see more of in the NBA, right? With gonna come up here and then just kind of slip the screen and attack off the catch. But even though he does a good job at getting into the paint here, and let me just go back and slow-mo it, because I actually think that right about here, hold up, right around here, right, he tosses in like the little fake to kind of freeze this defender. But then I don't even think that this defender kind of comes into the play on time. So once Hugo is up here, he really needs to be finishing this, and the fact that this is a miss does kind of concern me. On D here, right, so just take a look. Shrinking the floor right now, pretty good. You know, this guy is 2 passes away, so he doesn't need to be glued to him. But then it's a little bit of a risky decision, and I think that this is something which we do see on defense for Hugo. Not, you know, super often, but definitely from time to time, this tendency to want to gamble and create plays. So here, it doesn't really work because Hugo can't get to the entry pass, as we're about to see right here. And then the original man that he defended, number 9, once Hugo gambles and takes himself out of the play, he's wide open, and it's an open shot and a 3-pointer for Latvia. Here, I think we kind of see, you know, the opposite, where Hugo gambles a bit, reaching in, and gets the steal, but very easily could have been called for a foul. Again, another risky decision on defense here. This here is going to come off a turnover, and this is Hugo González right here. So I'm just going to keep my cursor on him right now. But, you know, obviously the engagement is great here, and the motor and, you know, the sacrifice or whatever you want to call it is really good. Gets all the way back. He's the only one to get all the way back. And then he goes up for the block, tries the block, gets called for the foul. I appreciate the effort, like I said, but in general, though, I do think that this kind of speaks to Hugo's, you know, aggression on defense and how he can really rein it in and avoid picking up fouls sometimes, which I believe are avoidable. And in general, you know, for all the good that he tries to do on D, it's not always the most productive or focused effort, such as right here, he's going to rotate in as the low man, but he's a beat late and he gets put on this poster right here. All in all, I'm just not that high on Hugo González, and I'm not sure that I will be before the end of this draft cycle. Sure, it doesn't help things that he's not playing at all pretty much for Real Madrid, but like I said, whenever he gets on the court, the discipline and the aggression have to kind of be reined in, and then the offensive production, the process, and really just kind of making some easy decisions needs to improve a whole lot. As always, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like, make sure to leave a comment telling me what you make of Hugo González, make sure to subscribe to the Floor and Ceiling Substack, and if you enjoyed this type of content and want to watch more videos like this, subscribe to the channel as well. Take care, and I'll catch you guys next time.